I'm going to start with, I sketch in my paint, the paintings I do with paint. I don't use graphite or pencil, I don't use that at all. And I'm painting on wood. I got this from Dick Blick. I get them also from Amazon. I paint on wood because I really like the feeling. I paint on canvas too, but I have a thing for painting on wood, and this is a cradle box, which means that the sides are wood as well. Let's see. I'll show you in a better image later, but there's like about an inch all around on this. On the Amazon ones, they're a little thicker, but either way, they're gonna go on the wall. You don't have to frame these. You could if you wanted to, but you don't have to frame these, which makes it super. So I'm gonna bring this line down, even though this line isn't going to be the whole building. I'm just doing that so I have like a place to go. So I'm going to then paint this line. Get a little water. Paint this line. It goes right over to here. And bring it right up to there. And then that goes in a little bit. I'll change all this later because also when you paint flat like this, your perspective will be different than if you lift it up. But for the camera, I can't really do it unless I shoot from behind to show you what I'm doing. And then I straighten things out anyhow because I'm in the sketching process at this point. So my planning stages are in, pretty much. I move things around. I made little marks here to show me where the building, that's the building. I straightened things out. You can see where that line was originally, that was the original line, and now I put in a line closer to that. You can see where the sketchy part was here, but you know, this is still sketchy too. I take the little straight edge and got it as close as possible. I can keep going back. So now I'm going to take this flat brush and get some of this cadmium red and a lot of water and grab this cadmium yellow. So I put all the colors in, I laid everything out, and you can see that there's just washes. It's not anywhere near finished. This is a beginning preliminary layout. Paint is everywhere, it's messy. But I wanted to like mark out everything, get rid of lines that I didn't need. Like this wonky line there is a pipe, and it really is like that on the picture where it's going off to its own side. I had to adjust the building because drawing it this way, even with the line, it looked wrong. So I'll do a little quick before and today. I'll photograph it or actually video it rather, coming this way, and I always do my checking on various ways. So if I'm painting something or drawing something, I go that end and look this way at it, so it's a backwards view, and you'll see things that are wrong. Same thing if you went on it. I introduced this really great color. It's one of my favorite colors to work with. Let's see, what is it? Aqua green. I think there's a word before it. There might be a word before it, but I love this color. I use a lot in my work. And I just put it in this door is gonna be really bright. Now on the windows, I'm putting in I'll probably put the bright blue that it's the color of the panes, and then start painting inside of the boxes with the window color, which is a bunch of different colors. So these Derwents are great. I will just sharpen a pencil and mark it in. So with a watercolor pencil, because it's water soluble, I forgot to mention this part. This is saving the paint part. There's still a lot of paint on here that's still active in the sense that the lights haven't dried it out, or me using them hasn't dried out. Acrylic dries fairly quickly, especially under these hot lights that I have recording. So this is wet paper towel. So I'll do is I'll fold it in half because I don't need it going all this way, and I'll just lay it like this right on there, and same with this little piece, and that will keep it. And then I just grab this plastic bag, stick it in here, sorry about the noise, and then tie it up so I save paint for tomorrow. Anyhow, so I'm putting this color. You can see I have the yellow, I have the different colors here, the yellow, the red, a little the burnt sienna. Now I'll take white once this is dry, and kind of like dry brush. I'll take some of the red and some of this burnt sienna because I don't want it to be pink at all. The white I need it to, so it's a little bit more faded, and I can stick a little yellow in there, but I don't want it to look like makeup. So then I'll sort of streak this on, and it's okay that I have the different colors in here. And I'm gonna dry brush it, which means that I'm letting the brush lose its color right into the painting without adding any extra water. So it's whatever the color is in the brush. So it's more or less doing that. So you can see it's a little bit streaky, but I kind of want that because I want the colors. This isn't completely dry, which is fine because you can see that they're starting. Yeah, so you can see that I'm just moving the colors, grabbing a little bit of white, and not too much. I just grab these colors, and it's gonna be like kind of random. And I want it kind of lighter. I want a little bit of red in there because there's gonna be areas where it's got to be even lighter. The wood is really faded. It must have been like a really gorgeous red at one point because it does have a lot of red still left in it. Okay, so I'm pulling from the bottom up, and I'm getting, see, there's a white that's still on the brush, which is fine too. Just go back and forth. Depth to them, whereas look at this is starting to have a lot of depth to it. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of that white again. Stick more of the red in there. The red's the hard part because you don't want it to look like it's like makeup or something. Alright, so I'm gonna again pull from the bottom up, and that's basically just to keep the board. It looks like it's boards. At least how I do it. And just keep pulling it. Sometimes it'll skip, which is fine because that's kind of cool too. It leaves like these little residual pieces as well. And when I poly it, do a water-based polyurethane on it, that brings out everything as well, all those really cool things that you really don't see until it has a little sheen to it. So I'll just go around, leave that right there, and start working other pieces. I'll move on to here. There's a board that's sort of off to the side here, and it looks like they hammered it on there because this is the roof. And this is a little bit of just a trim on it. So nothing about this building is, I think it's lovely, but nothing about this building is in good shape. So I put the bottom part, the first layer, after the beginning of laying it out. So this is my first layer. Now I'm going to work on the door, which is going to have a bunch of colors too, just like this will. This isn't finished, this bottom part. And then I'll move up like this. I'm not going to get this to a finished, completed stage. I'm just getting this done as I did this piece right here. So I'll work on the door, and then move to the roof, and then move up. So, and I'll be doing this in blues. I think I see a little bit of, I definitely see red in there, white, a little bit of purple in the shadow. Maybe a dark blue with a little red. And what I see, because I paint differently, I mean, I don't really use black. I did use a little Payne's gray right here, but I could also have used the cobalt blue or phthalo blue with red to get that, or even the combination of the red with the hooker's green to get a dark. So, I work pretty bold. I could work in a faded way, but that's not really my thing. So I'm going to stay in my style. And my next is to do the door. So what I did here is I took the phthalo blue and white and mixed them together. So I'm just pulling it down towards me and kind of letting it skip through. You can see I pulled this, and then I also went back and I need some white here. and I pulled it so I can see some of that turquoisey color, the greeny, I guess it's more like green, it's not really turquoise, the greeny color underneath it. I want that to show, so I'm pulling that. I can go back also and you can take the water and pull it through because it's not 100% dry. Drag this through. So I'm seeing other parts of the colors come through on the door. I don't want it to look like it was just painted because it wasn't. It's very streaky in real life. So I want that appearance. So I'm taking the brush and I'm gonna drag some of this out. I could sand a little bit off, but I'm just gonna take the brush and pull some of the paint out. You know, see, you can see the greenish color coming through, and that's what I want to happen. I'll make the shadow up here later. I'm just gonna do this kind of a thing, so I'm dragging all that color out. Look at that little bit of red is in there, that's nice. This piece of red in there. Now I won't mess with that, I'll kind of let that happen. Like even going and try to pull some of that out. Yeah, see, I want these things to happen. I want this green to show through there. I want it like to even peel back some of this paint that's still drying. I have this cloth that I use on my lap so I don't spill paint on my clothes. I could even take this and drag it out. Just taking it, you could take a paper towel, but this cloth has got more ability because of the fabric to pull this off. So this is a good look too, is to just do this, and then I'll go back and do a few more layers. Sometimes what I also do is if I like something a lot, I would put the poly on that, so when I'm painting on it, this layer stays the way it is, and then I paint on top of it. Like this little chip or whatever that is, I'd leave that there. This building is in total ruin, even though I think they still use every bit of it. There's a lot of buildings on this property, so maybe this one isn't being used, but definitely nobody's painted this in many, many years. So I don't want it to look like it just got painted. Like I could even take that blue and if it went on here, now it's dry, and just drag that through. So whatever's on that brush, I really should have just taken it before I put it in the water. See if I can get the water off of that and grab some of this and just go take the paint, right, and drag it across my board, and then drag some of this into the building. So you know what happens when you do that, besides it looks really nice, your eye starts to look all at the painting. It moves your eye all over the place. Your eye, because that blue will show up in here, there'll be a little bit up there. I always do that with my work. I try to put a color that your eye sees similar throughout the painting in some way, if it makes sense. So, you know, that's a tip. Look, my fingers are all dirty, but yeah, so, you know, this is dry brushing. It's sort of like pulling that, gives it a cool look. I need a shadow in a darker area there too. Whatever's in my brush, you know, just pull it, makes it look nice. Some of this will stay, some of it won't. And this will dry, and then I'll move on to the roof, and then up here, the sky, the foreground. I threw this little Payne's gray wash here and this little bit of burnt sienna wash, just because there's that building back there, there's a stone part right here. I'm working on the door. I put more of this bright blue with a white and just brought it over. There's still the pieces I worked on before that underneath it, and then I'm going to continue to make the layers. I added more color here and then went around the trim here, put this little piece here with red, this red color, and this the phthalo blue mixture there, and then also did this wash right here. So that's the beginning of that, but you can see the process of, okay, so it all started here and then it went to here, so it's like 1 wash, 2 washes, and this is like 3 or 4 right in here. So it's really like how you work, you know, and just keep moving along, and then things happen, and then I'll move over here. I added this little bit of detail on this board. I'll do the background, and I'll put all the beginning of the windows in. Now these are bricks on here, so this will have a, you know, where I'll block in some of the bricks, and I'm not sure if I'll leave it more abstract or if I'm going to actually be. I don't paint in realistic in photorealism at all. That's not my thing. I have more of a stylized look to my work, so you know, you can tell it's a building. So I inference the bricks. I might get a little bit more detailed with them, but I'll do the windows. You can tell it's a door. Obviously you'll see it's a sky, but yeah, so you can tell, even though these are the colors of the building, mine will be really bold. I'm starting to put the sky in right now. I put another layer of the reds and yellows and oranges, a piece here too, and then what I did is I made this color for this part, because this is going to be a more brickish, and it has more of an earth tone to it. I might drop it down another tone so that when I put the burnt sienna and other colors on it, that it pushes it back behind here. I think it's part of this build. No, it's the building is behind here. So this piece goes over here. So I need to probably drop it down a little bit. I put this little piece in here. I think I showed you that last time. So now I'm coming down here with the sky. So we've got the white. What I'll do is I add a little bit of white just to move the paint around with. Like I'll cut it right against this line. And then I have the bright blue here that I like to use in the sky, but I can also stick this color in as well. And this is just the wash, and then I'll start putting in the sky, the clouds, and I will differentiate parts of the sky that don't have all this brightness in it. So, but I put it in, and I'll bring it all the way down, even though it doesn't show there. I'll bring it because I think the trees are right in here, and this is a bridge and this is grass, but I'll bring it all the way down so I don't have to worry about if I missed a piece. So you can see it's still a little streaky because this is only the second coat. So grab more of that paint, and I'm just bringing it right up to the edge. Doesn't matter that I'm going in various directions, because again, this is just to get another coat on here, and then I'll make it nicer as I come along. But just taking my time to go into that building, and it does make a difference because it gives that nice crisp edge. And I'll straighten anything out that's not crisp enough right now, but I like that crisp edge. So I'm in the middle of plotting out the windows, and you know, sometimes I just throw in the lines, and you know, if it's not like something that's really in your face. These are kind of in your face, so I made a little jig for myself. This was on I use these to put my shelf up. So this is the back side of it, and they had the little ruler. What I did was I just made little lines. I think that's where this one, I actually have two sides, because I have one side for this side. Let's see, it must be this side. Yeah, you can see where I lined them up and made that, so then I can bring it up here and do the same to here and there. You know, it's a little piece of paper. You could have done it without even having the ruler, because I really didn't use the ruler. I kind of did and kind of didn't. So now I put the tick marks on here that I used to go over here on this window, and if it were too short I could even bring it down a little bit. Used it here as well. So, and then I'm just taking my T-square and using my watercolor pencil just to put it in there, and then make the tick marks like that, because the watercolor pencil's water soluble, so it'll go right into that. So grab that bright blue and I just painted these little lines in here. So these little, they'll probably change, and I can go this way as well with it. They'll probably change as I need some to be darker and some to be lighter, but then I'll go and make the window panes with whatever it'll take. So I'll probably be using Payne's Gray, which my Payne's Gray dried up. Payne's Gray, maybe a little red, maybe even some of the blues, and fill in these panes. So I wouldn't just leave them this white color because that's not how they look. It's really raining outside. It's a nasty day, so I'm glad I'm inside painting. Made the doors. I started working on the grid, so what I did is I just did use this again. I kind of like eyeballed where I thought, because there's 3 panels where they should go, and then I figured it out because I know I could do it mathematically, but I was kind of lazy. So when I got it to where it would do it, I always do this. I like I said, I make the little things and then it works out. So I started to like wash in again this the different colors, and same here, this wood here. So let's see, I'll get a brush out. Here I'm leaving my new brushes into the paint, which isn't a great idea. The red, so I'll take the red and I'll add this cobalt or phthalo blue, phthalo. I really need to find out the real pronunciation of that. Okay, so what I did is I just took those 2 colors and pull them in, and then just pull them like this with my fingers, or just streak it like that. But I always do use my fingers. I don't know why, it's maybe just a habit. And it kind of gives you that nice, like, a wood effect. Now, I said it was barnwood. It's not barnwood, it's wood of some sort. So, because the building's red. It's not a barn. It's a factory, so it couldn't be barnwood. Yeah, so that's how I'm doing it. And like, I would do that coloration like in here for the shadow. And what it does is just needs a really richness. I kind of mentioned before, I don't use black in my paintings except for if I was doing like a real graphic piece that was like a black and white or something, or, you know, gray tone or something. You can get the colors, like on here I did use Payne's Gray and these panes. I could have done the same thing with the red and the blue. I'll put this over here. See, the red and blue would leave the same depth, and you can build it up too. So it just makes it richer looking too. To use the red and the blue would be, or it would be a more primary color anyhow. And it's I don't know, it still adds to that. So I worked on the roof and did a little wash. I'll do is I'll go between them being really bright, like this corner here, to like being a shadow here and tapering off. So now it starts to leave a little interest here. And then I'll work on the doors, or I'll push those back. I have it still underneath it, the colors that I had added underneath. I can still see them. Like little highlights like this, I really like that look. And I'll move around. I'm gonna drop this down a few shades because I want it to push it back. Plus I also, when I go to put the bricks on it, I want this to have some contrast. I'll build this up to be darker than what it is now. And it'll be more like this. And this is in shadow over here, which it'll probably be a little bit darker. I added the red and blue up here, beginning of that. I'll make this brighter around the trim, but this is pretty much the color I'll stick it at, or paint that at. So, and then I'll start working on the background a little bit. It does take loads and loads of hours of going around and painting, but yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I have my paints out. I had to add everything. I have the heat on in the house, and I think it's drying everything, even with the wet paper towel and the plastic bag I put on it. So So just add it, but I had already gone through most of the paint, so I'm going to do like a close-up of the windows. I need to start focusing on getting some of this done, because I had the photograph pretty far away, so that I work on my iPad looking at it. Printing the picture is one thing, but when I look at the real brightness of the iPad, it helps me see things better. So just grabbing some of the Oku brushes. I took out the 4 and I took out the 3, and I think I'm going to take out the 1 as well. And then I have a couple other brushes. So I'm going to make a few colors. So I might have to get this going. It's still good. I take a few colors and put them around. Like this area here, it's in a few shades of blue. So bring this up a little closer for a close-up shot of putting under the window some color. So I just would put the first color of the red, and then grab the blue, and that's how I'll start the shadow under the windowsill. And so you're not using black, and I'm not even using the Payne's gray. The red will actually work really well with the blue, because they work off of each other, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a vibration in the painting that you really don't. It's a subtle look. So if you look right there, there's that little red line that goes under the yellow, and because these are close enough in being that they're primary colors, it gives a nice warm look. So this is supposed to be more greenish on the sill, but I like to put in these little details starting in steps. So I'll do that. So but look at that, does change the whole look, and I wanted this angle to give it a little bit of how it looks when I'm painting it, opposed to overhead. I'm trying to work on different shots so you can see what I see when I'm doing this. It is tedious. I don't mind it though, because it's like filling in a puzzle when you do everything. I'm working on the roof right now, and so what I'm doing is I take the paint. I mixed a little yellow. Oops, that's a little red in it. I don't want that. A little yellow, a little of this green, grabbed a little white, put it together here, a little bit more yellow, and just sort of have a couple different colors. Grab a little yellow here, and then I go sideways with the flat brush. I'm just making these little marks, so you can see that it sits on top of the color that's underneath there. Let's see. I will actually add a little red to this color up here, because I need when I go up towards the top here, I need it to be more in like a shaded area, because this is going to be a little darker on the top here. So I'm coming just across here, and I'll put a little bit here and there of the green and red, and it just makes it, and then I'll go across like this top part and make it a little bit more crisp on the edge, and then it just comes all around the side here. So it just gives you the idea that there's shingles on this roof just come across like this. If I want it a little brighter to sit like underneath it, I just add a little bit more white. So these just little gentle little tiny little strokes with the brush kind of inference the shingles. Still working on the windows, kind of working all over. Did a little shading right in here. Put a little color in here, put a little color in there. My bricks aren't going to be brown, they're going to be this orangey color, even though the building is more of a browny color, because I just want this really kind of, I don't know, cool color, you know, my own coloring, but close enough till it looks like the building and the scene. So that's where I'm going with that, and I just wanted to share how I do the shingles on the roof.